everybody, and thanks for joining us on Makers Who Make It by Art Is You. I'm Michele Rempel, and I am the host of Makers Who Make It, where we talk to makers from all over the place and find out why they make what they make and how they make it. So today I have a really fun and special guest, Angie Triezenberg, who is a maker, and the name of her company is Gray Bunny Greetings. And she'll tell us a little bit more about that in a minute. But welcome, Angie. I'm so excited to have you on today.
Hi, Michele. I'm excited to be here too. It's great talking with you.
Yeah, you too. You know, it's so much fun to talk to other makers. As you know, I'm a maker myself. I have a business, a marketing company, and marketing and website development company, which is like my, main business. But then I also have a little side gig called Windows to Waves, and I do it with my mom. We use resin. So I'm definitely a maker, and it's just so much fun to talk to other makers because there's literally, I don't know how many hundreds of different things you can make and sell, hopefully, to other people. But, it's just so much fun to talk to everybody. So Angie, first of all, we know the name of your company is Gray Bunny Greetings, but what do you actually make?
I make greeting cards. They're handmade. I design them on the computer, and then I cut them and assemble them by hand.
Wow. So how much time does it take? I know all the cards that you make are different, but typically how much time would it take to make one card?
The design process, probably like an hour or more. I'm so particular and nitpicky, but to actually make each card, anywhere from like 15 minutes to a half an hour, just depending on what it is. And then if it's customized, then it takes longer. But I love connecting like technology and working with my hands. So for me, that makes the whole process just super, super fun because I get to combine two of the things that I really like to do.
Yeah, cool. So how did you get started in the greeting card biz? What prompted you to do that?
So I like buying cards and sending snail mail. But I would go to the store and I would find cards, be like, oh, it's really cool, but I would change this or I would change that. And then I actually bought a Cricut machine for my wedding, and I had every intention of buying it and then selling it like on Facebook Marketplace when I was done. I was like, whatever, I won't need this anymore. Well, that wasn't happening. You could pry it out of my cold dead hands because I was obsessed with it. Like, which, people always say like they get hooked, but I started making cards on there because I saw like how easy and fun it was, and then I started making them for friends and family just because I had all these materials,
right?
And, wanted something to do, and then so many people are like, why don't you sell these? I would buy this for my sister, my friend, or just stuff like that, just hearing so much positive feedback. And I was like, okay, well, this gives me an excuse to make even more cards.
And to use your Cricut.
Yes.
I love that. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about marrying technology with, doing stuff with your hands. What made you, I know you wanted to make your wedding cards, but what made you decide on a Cricut? For those out there that maybe don't even know what it is or haven't used one before.
So a Cricut is a smart cutting machine. It plugs into your computer, and you use something similar to like graphic design software to cut things. Usually people do things with vinyl, which is what I had intended on doing for my wedding. So I did.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so I did like signs and iron-on things for like shirts for my bridesmaids, things like that.
Cool.
And when I bought one, I didn't even know they could cut paper with it.
Nice.
And then I started getting more into it, and I was like, oh, so the paper is actually so much cooler than the vinyl.
Okay.
And cool. I was hooked.
Oh, wow. That's cool. So when you bought the Cricut, you brought it home, you started making cards, you started making other stuff. When did you decide? I know, people said you should really sell this, but when you decided to sell it, where did you decide to start selling your cards?
I went with Etsy just because it seemed the easiest to start up with, and you get a lot of visibility there. And then I started selling in person, which I can't wait to get back to,
Yeah,
after, so much pandemic craziness.
yeah,
But I feel like when you like as good of a picture as you can take of a card, and I'm sure you feel the same way, Michelle, with what you make. When you see it in person, though, and you actually see the dimension and the
yeah,
color,
yeah,
there's nothing like it.
right.
And a card is such an easy purchase, right? I
Yeah,
mean, I bought cards and then hung on to them and been like, this is so cool. Like one day I'm gonna have a reason to give this to somebody.
right.
And it's like everybody needs a card. So it's like, oh yeah, sure. I like this for my cousin. And
Yeah,
then they buy it.
yeah. Do you feel like card giving and letter writing has kind of become sort of a lost art? Um, yeah, I feel like
Yeah,
that too. But
absolutely.
yeah, but then when you're able to give a card like what you make, and I have bought and given some of your cards, which they are impressive. People really, they love them, right? It's so fun to get a really well made and just kind of almost intricate and just well, handmade card. I mean, it can be a really, it's almost like a present in itself, right?
Yes,
That's the
I
way I.
totally agree. That's how I feel about it too. And it feels so much more special and thoughtful, even if you weren't the one who made it, right? It's
Yeah,
just like you didn't just go to the store to buy this. You kind of went out of your way to do something thoughtful.
yeah, to really make it special for the people that you care about. Yeah, I know I have a friend who she makes a point of writing like real letters, hand
Mhm.
letters that you put in
So
an
cool.
envelope, and she like hand writes them out, and she'll maybe even enclose a picture or something like that. She just feels like it's just such an important thing to just keep doing the handwriting, and cards are the same way. That's really cool. So
Yeah.
you have this name, Gray Bunny Greetings.
Yeah.
Tell us about the name. How did you come up with that?
So I have a rabbit. His name is Zuzu. He's really fluffy. He's gray. Whenever he would hear like my Cricut turn on, or he'd hear me like go into the office to start crafting, he would run in and he would sit on my feet and be like my little buddy the whole time. I give him little paper scraps to chew on. So it's like, oh, he has to be incorporated in my business name in some way because he's just such a part of the process.
That's a great story. When we were trying to come up with a name for Windows to Waves, we batted around all of these different kinds of names. And I say we, I'm talking about, for whatever reason, my brother, who was kind of mildly involved in it a little bit
Mhm.
at the beginning, but he and I batted around. I think my husband was involved a little bit as well, but he was ruled out. Um, he came up with like Rempel resin, which just doesn't really sound that great. But a name is really the name. I think of what you're doing creatively really does. It just makes a big difference. That you have to pick out something that people will remember and um, maybe says a little bit about what you do, or maybe not. At least
Yeah.
you have a good story behind it. So I love that Gray Bunny greeting.
Thanks.
That's so cute. So, what would you say is the hardest thing about selling on Etsy, or did you find it to be really easy? What do you think?
I think that the setup and getting started on Etsy is easy. But like keeping it going and the continuity and the way that they're always changing things, and sometimes they put out some policies and then they take them back that just aren't great for sellers.
Okay, yeah,
Um, but overall, I think that Etsy has created such like a wonderful place for people to, you know, put out handmade things.
Yeah.
Like, and I even love that they have like commercials now, and
Yeah.
you know, it's just, I feel so mixed on it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. It's, they've become a huge company, just like, I mean, not as big as Facebook or Google or whatever, but they have
They're
become
big enough.
yeah, they're big enough. They have become a huge company. And, years ago when they started, didn't it feel just kind of like this little, oh, it's
Yeah,
so cool, this little tiny company. And now it's like huge
like
and they sell,
insidery.
yes. And now they sell absolutely everything. And,
Oh yeah.
it's, but at the same time, a lot of people have really been able, I mean, I've bought a lot of really cool things off of there, and of course, and so,
Yeah.
you can't knock the fact that um, they're there. Have you, besides in person, have you tried selling like on Facebook Marketplace or anything like that? Or
I have not, but I do sell quite a bit to like people I know or friends of friends. A lot of word of mouth
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
People messaging me like on Facebook or Instagram being like, "Oh, I know so and so, and they told me to get in touch with you." Um, I mean, yeah, I'm not opposed to selling on Facebook Marketplace.
yeah,
I think it would probably go great.
yeah, or Instagram, or well, which they're
Yeah,
all the same company now, right?
right.
So
Yeah.
it's all the same thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
have you oh, forgot what I was going to ask though. That's terrible. Okay. So let me just go on to the next question that I'm thinking of. What's the hardest thing about what you make? Are there any difficulties in what you do?
I would say just getting out of my own way,
Yeah.
not second guessing myself and being like, yeah, this is fun or cute and somebody will probably like it. And even if they don't, I enjoyed making it. And that's what's important to me at the end of the day.
Yeah. And that's so true. I I was actually at a show yesterday with my mom, at an outdoor festival, and there was a woman who came into our booth, and she said, "Oh, I've been seeing your stuff from afar, and I just had to come over and take a look at what you're selling." And then she walked into the booth and she's looking at it and she says, "Even though I live so close to the ocean, I see that this is ocean themed stuff, and I really just don't like ocean themed stuff."
Oh my gosh.
And it was so funny to me. It was like, well, okay, I understand. Hey, there's a lot of people there's a lot of people who do. So
Right.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then she did look at one piece that was it was a California that I'd done, but it had ocean waves on it. But she goes, "But this California is pretty cool." And I said, "Well, I'm glad you like that." So you just,
Thanks.
yeah, you will get some unsolicited comments
Right.
from people that just kind of crack you up, and you just
Yeah.
go, "Well, what I make just maybe isn't for everybody,
Right.
and that's okay."
Yeah. I've had people say to me at shows before, like, "Oh, well, I can go to Hallmark and get a
Right.
card for less." And I'm like, "Okay, then do that.
Yeah.
That's fine. If that's what you want to do, then go ahead."
Yep, exactly. And it's hard, sometimes people, I'm sure for you, um, greeting cards, you're right. You can go to Hallmark, although, Hallmark cards are pretty pricey now too, but
Right?
your cards are not $1 a piece. They're not even $2 or $3 or $4.
Right.
They're a few dollars a piece. Understandable, because you do have to put a lot of time and effort and thought into them, and they are very special. Um, but you also are competing, yeah, against the non-handmade stuff that is a lot cheaper. Another, we were invited to go into a local gift store to show our stuff, and there wasn't really great communication, as far as what the terms would be. And so we found out when we got there that they wanted to essentially double whatever price whatever our bottom price would be. And they said, "We're sorry, we just don't think that we can sell these for, the price that we would need to get." And so we're looking at the walls and we said, well, that's, where did you get this other stuff? And they kind of went, well, it's China, right?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, so like this piece, which was kind of similar to what we've done, it didn't have resin, but it had a very nice beachy kind of thing. I said, so that piece is selling for 25. So that means you got it for like 12. And she goes, well, yeah. And I said, yeah, we can't, I mean, the frames alone, because ours includes frames, the frames alone are, several dollars each. I mean, we just
Yeah.
couldn't, there's just no way. So that's the thing about, handmade, is that you just you have to overlook those comments too. Like, yeah, you're right. You could get something very similar from China or whatever country, not knocking
Right.
China, just saying, yeah, they do send us stuff that's less price, but it's not handmade. So there you go.
And then you walk away with it being like, well, that's not my buyer.
Right. That is
And that's
not
okay.
Yes, that is not my buyer. And you're right. That is okay. And there's going to be somebody who will appreciate what I've done. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know you've had some, big changes in your life, namely a very small child. I don't know if you want to say anything about her or whatever, but once you feel like you're more able, what would you like to learn more of? Have you dreamt about that?
Yeah, well, once my baby can sleep longer than like 30 minutes by herself, and I have more time. Um, I would love to learn more about these like shaker cards. So
Okay.
it's like a piece of plasticky material, and then there's like glitter and sprinkles and
Oh, cool.
fun things inside, and the card shakes.
Okay.
And then
Cool.
somehow you put that in. I've tried one, but it was so bulky, and I was like, you're gonna have to put like 3 stamps on this. No way.
That would be really cool. I could see how that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, like
Is that
something
something?
interactive.
Yeah. Can you accomplish some of that with your Cricut too, or?
I think that it cuts the right kind of plasticky. I don't even know what it is. I have to figure it out. I think it's like vellum or something.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
All right. So you've heard it here, probably maybe first, that you're thinking about incorporating some kind of movement, or more movement, and some glitter maybe, or some
anything,
color,
glitter,
or
sprinkles.
liquid.
I'm obsessed with sprinkles, so those would probably be the first thing I put in there.
Sprinkles, I love it. Yeah, like you could have a cupcake card with sprinkles floating around on it or something like that. That would be really cool. I love that idea. See, there's always something more to learn.
Right.
About what we make. People just see it and then they think, oh, I could do that, which sure, you could.
Maybe you could. Yeah.
But yeah, they see just the tip of the iceberg, and there's all that learning curve that goes underneath it. Yeah. So when you kind of get back to doing more of it as well, as beyond what you want to learn, do you have any aspirations to, I don't know, expand a little bit as far as platforms or marketing or anything like that, or just take it one day at a time?
I think right now, just taking it one day at a time. Like I said before, I would really like to get back to doing shows again.
Yeah.
That I just think was so fun. And then doing some marketing around that with the shows, because I did have success doing that before.
Yeah. Well, it's, life seasons.
Yep.
Things happen. Life seasons happen. Yeah. So with the greeting card business, obviously there's there's Christmas season, which is a big deal. What other holidays are your biggest sellers, or have been in the past?
So I do really well at Valentine's Day, which makes sense. But probably my biggest seller, which I was never expecting, is for St. Patrick's Day.
Really?
Yeah, so I make these things called leprechaun letters.
Do you have some around to show? Or
I don't. I wish I
okay,
did. They're
so you
custom,
have some
so it's
others to show, right?
I
Yeah.
do. Yes.
Okay.
So it's a personalized letter and it's small and it's in like this little like scrawly handwriting font and it says, "Dear Charlotte, I saw your leprechaun trap. You almost got me, but I escaped." And it has like this little like Irish limerick, and then it looks like distressed and like very special, like old. And then with vinyl, there's these little footprints that you can put, like
Oh
the
man.
leprechaun got away. And man, people just they love those. They love those for their kids. And I get like the best stories from it. Like kids are just so surprised and excited. And then parents get really into it with like, those like gold coins and glitter, and they mess stuff up in their house because the leprechaun came and made a disaster. And it's a ton of work because it's all personalized, but I feel like that's something that if I were a kid, I would remember that forever.
That is so cool. Oh, I love that. Wow. Yes, I would never have thought that St. Patrick's Day would have been one of your biggest sellers or busiest times or most surprising, I guess maybe most surprising type
Yeah.
of sale, right? So
Yeah,
you do have some, oh, so go ahead. Yeah.
I was at Target one day in the dollar spot and they had all these things for a leprechaun trap, and I was like, these kids need an explanation for how this leprechaun got away, and then it just kind of took off from there.
That is awesome. Well, I can't wait. Hopefully by next St. Day, you'll be back to making some of those somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'll be okay by then.
Good. So you do have some samples to show, right? If you can, I know
Yeah.
it's kind of awkward, but if we can just see what you've got. Yeah.
Sure. I have this one for spooky season.
Oh, cool. Look at that.
Ghostly greetings. It's hard to tell, but like it's very layered. And there's some
Yeah.
dimension to it.
Wow. Is that gold behind it or is that
Yeah.
Okay. That's super cool. Wow, look at how intricate that is. That is
Yeah.
beyond a Halloween card right there. Wow.
Yeah, like I would keep this if somebody
Yes.
sent this to me. I'm like such a card hoarder, though. I've always been this way.
Yeah, you should show us your card hoard. Yeah. Oh, that's very cool.
And then let's see, getting into Christmas. I have this one.
Wow, look at that.
Glittery. Says it's a marshmallow world in the winter. Definitely one of my favorite Christmas songs. Just like taking those little things and then it triggers like a memory. I think, especially like if you and your best friend love listening to this song, growing up listening to Christmas, then I would send this to somebody.
That's really cool. And that's also quite intricate.
Thanks. I usually do the insides blank so that you have space to, write all of your own messages.
Yeah. There have been so many times when I've gone to the store to pick a card and I think, oh, that looks so nice. And then I read the message inside or even on the front, and I go, that just doesn't really apply. Could I take this top off and then put
Yeah.
how can I hide this message? Yeah.
Yeah. Or it's like so corny and you're just like, oh geez.
Yeah, this doesn't work for me at all. So yeah, that's smart to make it blank. Do you have any others to show? Or
yeah. Here's another one that's pretty layered for Christmas.
Wow.
Or really
that's
just
beautiful.
Holidays.
Yeah. It could be glittery. Appropriate for maybe even Hanukkah or something like that. It's just very kind of non-denominational, right? Yeah. That's beautiful. Nice. Thanks. Yeah, I like the colors too. Cool. Yeah, those are great. So do you have any closing thoughts or anything you want to share to somebody who's thinking about becoming a maker, or they've been making but they're just not sure they can make it? What would you say?
I think that if you want to try something, if you want to start getting creative, just do it. just because you can't screw it up majorly. There's very little risk, especially starting out with something like paper. It's
Yeah.
not terribly expensive. And if you mess something up, you can get more. It's okay, and really don't be so hard on yourself and enjoy the process. If people want to buy your products, great. If they don't, well then look at it as you had more time doing something that you love to do.
Yeah, you definitely enjoyed the process. And
Yeah.
that, I think that's a huge part of makers who make it, whether it's make it big or make it enough or make it
Mhm.
just to be creative. I think
Yeah.
that's the whole point of it. So how can people find you? What's the best way to get a hold of you if they want to maybe get a set of cards for the holidays if you're ready, or maybe St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah. I definitely planning on opening my shop back up probably around Thanksgiving.
Okay,
You can find me on Etsy at Gray Bunny Greetings and Instagram at Gray Bunny Greetings.
awesome. Thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. This has been Angie Triezenberg with Gray Bunny Greetings on Makers Who Make It. Thanks again for your time. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Michelle. Bye.